Emma was a bright and curious little girl who loved to talk, and she talked a lot. Every morning she would wake up before the sun and start talking to the birds. She would ask them about their dreams and what they saw beyond the hills and valleys. She would tell them about her plans for the day and all the things she wanted to learn. As she grew older, she continued to talk to everyone around her. She would chat with the baker about his bread and pastries. She would ask the old woman about her flowers and herbs. She would play with the other children and make up games and stories together. She never stopped talking. One afternoon, Emma was walking through the village and she heard some strange sounds coming from an old house at the end of the street. She had never seen anyone go in or out of the house, and she was curious to know who lived there and what they were doing. As she got closer, she could hear the sound of hammering and sawing, and she could see a faint light coming from one of the windows. She couldn't help herself. She had to take a peek inside. She found a small opening in the wall where she could look into the yard, and what she saw made her eyes pop wide open. There was a tall, narrow door covered with vines and weeds, and it looked like it hadn't been opened in a long time. But now someone was trying to pry it open with a crowbar. Emma couldn't believe it. She had lived in the village for 10 years, and she had never noticed this door before. It was like it had been hiding in plain sight. Emma was so excited to discover something new and mysterious in her village that she didn't even think twice about sneaking into the yard. She crawled under a broken fence and tiptoed towards the door. She could hear the person inside struggling to open it, and she could feel her own curiosity and excitement growing. Then suddenly, with a loud creak, the door swung open and Emma gasped and hid behind a tree. She watched as a man emerged from the shadows, and he was unlike anyone she had ever seen before. He had a long white beard and a twinkling blue eye that seemed to hold ancient secrets. He looked at Emma with a warm smile and asked, "Hello, child, what brings you here?" Emma was stunned by his sudden appearance, and she could only stammer, I was just curious." The man nodded understandingly and said, "Curiosity is a powerful force, child. It can lead to great discoveries and wisdom, but it can also be dangerous." Emma was intrigued by his words, and she couldn't help but ask, "Why is that?" The man looked at her for a moment and then said, "Because sometimes what we seek is not meant for us to find, and sometimes what we discover can change us forever." Emma wasn't sure what he meant, but she couldn't deny that she was eager to explore more. She asked, "Can I come in?" The man hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "Very well, child, but remember, what you see here is not for everyone to understand. Are you sure you want to continue?" Emma took a deep breath and said, "Yes, I'm sure." They walked together into the yard, and Emma couldn't believe what she was seeing. Behind the old door was a place she had never imagined existed. It was a clearing in the forest with a circular path and a circle of standing stones in the middle. The stones were tall and thin, and they looked like they had been put there by giants from the distant past, but that wasn't what caught Emma's attention. What did was the sound that filled the air. It was a soft, gentle humming that seemed to come from the stones themselves. It was a sound that was both familiar and strange, like a lullaby from a forgotten time. As Emma stood there listening to the hum, she felt a sense of wonder and awe wash over her. She had never heard anything like it before. It was as if the stones were singing to her, and she was the only one who could hear their song. She looked at the man and asked, "What is this place, and why does it make me feel so strange?" The man smiled and said, "This is a place of power, child. It is a place where the veil between the worlds is thin, and where the whispers of the ancients can still be heard. You are feeling the magic of this place, and it is calling to you." Emma didn't understand everything he was saying, but she could feel the truth in his words. She could feel the magic in the air. She wanted to explore more, to learn more, to understand more. so she asked, "Can I stay here longer? Can I learn more about this place?" The man nodded and said, "Of course, child, this place is yours to explore. But remember, it will not reveal its secrets to just anyone. You must show it respect and reverence if you want to learn from it." Emma promised she would, and she spent the rest of the day exploring the clearing. She walked in circles, tracing the path, touching the stones, listening to the hum. She felt a connection to the place, to the stones, to the magic, and she knew she had found something special. But as the sun began to set and the shadows grew longer, she knew she had to leave. She said goodbye to the man, promising to return the next day, and she ran home, her mind racing with questions and excitement. The next day, Emma couldn't wait to get to the Whispering Clearing. She woke up early, before the sun, and ran to the old house. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. She called out, "Hello, are you there?" But there was no reply. She looked around and realized that the door was unlocked. So she pushed it open and walked in, and that's when she saw him. The man was sitting in a chair by the window, and he was reading a book. He looked up and saw Emma and smiled. "You're early," he said. Emma blushed and said, "I couldn't wait to come back. I've so many questions about yesterday." The man nodded and said, "Then let's go." They walked back to the clearing, and Emma was amazed to see how different it looked in the daylight. The trees and bushes were more visible, and she could hear birds singing in the branches. But the clearing still had an air of mystery and magic, and she couldn't wait to explore more. She spent the whole day with the man, and he taught her so much. He told her that the clearing was a sacred place where druids and witches had gathered in ancient times. He showed her how to listen to the stones and how to feel the energy of the earth. He explained how everything in nature was connected and how they were all part of a great cycle of life. But Emma had one question that she couldn't stop thinking about. She asked, "Why did you show me this place? Why did you bring me here?" The man looked at her for a moment and then said, "Because I believe you are meant to be here. Child, you are meant to be a keeper of the old ways. You are meant to be a bridge between the worlds." Emma was stunned by his words, and she could only stare at him in disbelief. "Me? But I don't understand. I'm just a simple girl from a village. I don't know anything about magic or druids or witches." The man smiled and said, "That doesn't matter, child. You have a gift, and your gift will grow. You have a destiny, and your destiny will unfold. You just have to trust the process and have faith in yourself." Emma wasn't sure what to say. She felt honored and scared and excited all at once. She didn't know if she was ready for such a big responsibility, but she knew she couldn't run away from it. She had found her purpose, and she wouldn't let it go. So Emma stayed with the man for many years, learning from him and growing with him. She learned how to heal with herbs and how to commune with animals. She learned how to read the stars and how to cast spells. She learned how to be a witch, and when she was finally ready, he gave her his blessing and she returned to her village. Now Emma lives in her village, and she is known as the wise girl. She uses her gifts to help others and to protect the natural world. She teaches children about the magic of nature, and she inspires them to follow their dreams and to believe in themselves. She knows that everyone has a gift and a destiny, and she helps them discover theirs. She is a storyteller, and she weaves tales of wonder and wisdom, of bravery and hope. She is a keeper of the old ways, and she keeps the magic alive. If you enjoyed Emma's magical adventure, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next story. New magical tales every week just for you. The end.